Hello and welcome to BonBonB's new style What Map for City Skylines. There are over 23,000 maps on the workshop now, and so choosing the right one for your new city is a huge task. So each day, Monday to Saturday, we'll review one, using our 5-star rating for aesthetics, detail and gameplay potential, awarding only the very best the coveted seal of approval. So join me, fellow Skylines explorers, as we venture to today's new land. Who am I? I'm BonBonB, and you are very welcome.
Come here now, girl.
And today's map is Elizabeth Valley by Honda Car 1212. Now let's be upfront and honest here before we go any further. This is not a great map, but there's a very good reason why I want to cover it today, and that is the rivers. Now the best way to learn when you're a budding map maker is to look at what doesn't work on other people's maps, and this is a prime example where poor river design has absolutely killed the map. So what we'll do is we'll go and analyse the rivers, which will take a little bit of time, and then we'll look at the rest of the map, and then we'll score it, and then we'll move on and do some better maps later on in the week. How does that sound? Right, let's take a closer look at these rivers. Now these are set out as they are actually on the real map, but I'm not convinced, or if they are actually laid out like this, then the water physics in the game doesn't really suit, and maybe a little bit of creative license should have been allowed. So let's say, sake of argument, let's say that each one of these water sources is producing 100 water. So we got 100 from here, and 2, and 300, and 400, and 500, and 600 water. So you've got 2 merging here, this is 2 lots of 100, becomes 200. Coming down and reaches this point here where it meets the you've got 200 merging here, and from the top here 200 merging here, and all this here all merging into one big river, and then it merges with this one of course, and all the way down here, and it all adds up to a guarantee. You know, at this point, especially at this point here, you know exactly how much water is coming, because it is all coming from steady sources, from these water sources only. There is one slight variant, and that's this little river here. You can see how shallow it is, and that's because it's just filtering off some of the water from the other water sources, which are over here. So this river here, pretty much, yeah, this river here is one water source only. And this side river, which it'll eventually join with, is one water source. Let's call that 100, and this one 100. So 100 water is coming down here, and it reaches this break here. Now this is where things start getting interesting, because what we've got is we've got some of it feeding off to the left, and some of it feeding off to the right. Now you can't be sure for certain exactly how much is going to go down each path. You know, we might get 40 go off to the left and 60 go off to the right, and then a few moments later 60 go off to the left and 40 go off to the right. It's the fluidity of water, you can't be sure. You would say that more goes off to the right than goes off to the left, but it kind of really doesn't matter exactly the numbers. We'll just say 60 and 40 to make things a little bit easier to follow. So this side one, it's fairly light and whatever. We've got a little bit of flooding going on, flooded trees. Drown the trees, guys. And then it meets up here. But it's very shallow at this point. It almost doesn't really want to join up with the main river. You can see there's some turbulence here as the water is all merging in together. But like I say, this side of the river isn't causing too many problems, because the only thing that's out of the map creator's control is this little river here, which could be between 40 and 60 at any given time. But joining up with, where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. Yeah, 800, 1200 water with 40 water making a slight difference. So we can ignore that one. This one, however, is the problem. Now immediately here you can just make out the ripples in the water here, with sort of like just slight bumps, a bump here and a bump here and a bump here and so on. And that's basically where we're just getting like the little, it 40, then 60, then 40, then 60. It's rippling because we have full control over this. Okay, then it comes down here and it meets with this river here, which we've already ascertained is 100 guaranteed. Now, if this was 100 guaranteed and that was 100 guaranteed, this wouldn't be a problem. This would just carry on straight. And that would be 200, whoosh, straight down the middle, no problems. However, we've already got rippling in the water here, and this could be 40 or 60 hitting 100 at any given time. And now this is where if you got, I mean, you would say this isn't 100 anyway, because look, it's quite light at times. Even that's not perfect, is it? This is not a perfectly running number running down here. But anyway, we're just for the sake of argument, in fact, you would argue that there's a lot more water coming from this side. Say 140 and 160 against 50 to be fair. That's probably a more accurate set of numbers. But anyway, this variance is hitting here and this is causing turmoil. And if you look down here, we have got lumpy water. Now the simulation's been running for a while. I've paused it so you can actually make out these bumps. We're just literally lush and then low and then high and then low and almost flooding the bridges. And it carries on and carries on all the way down here. Here we're literally breaking the riverbanks. It makes it almost impossible. Here we've got hardly anything and so on. You can follow that all the way out. And we've got another big flood here. And this will continue indefinitely. And sad as it is, because it kind of breaks the map, I would say. So what I would have done personally, using a little bit of creative license, I would have done away with this link river. This is what's causing the problems. Get rid of this link river. That's gone. The other thing I find quite odd is this river passes very close to the end of this lake. Now, yes, apparently this river does carry on off into the distance, but I would have merged it into the tail end of this lake, making this wide, and then that would join in there. And now here, where you're going to have like indifferent amounts of water possibly coming in from either side, look at this amount of room, the amount of space that water could spread over, and you would hardly notice a problem. So anyway, that's the problem with the rivers on this map. As lovely a blue colour as they are, they're very much out of control. Well, especially this one. I mean, awful. Let's get the simulation running again. Oh, crumbs, look at that. Blue syrup. Now, we won't go over the map in too much detail because it pretty much, you can see it from here. We've got the mountains, which you could build on these mountains, and once again, nice snowy theme. It's giving it a lovely backdrop, and then it just breaks. It's like the edge of the Rocky Mountains or something like that, going into the Great Plains, making it sound like I know what I'm talking about. I clearly don't, but you know, that's how I see it. I see it as that. And then this patch here, this orangey patch here, this is all oil. So as you'll be able to see what you're drilling for without having to go testing. Now the roads and the rail, well, they're not the worst at all. You know, they're oh, excuse me, pardon me, dearie me, there goes my dinner. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I'll say they're pretty level and flat, and they look good. Why this didn't go entirely straight, I'm not sure. Once again, maybe it's based on the real map, who knows. And then we hit this wonderful junction, and everything goes in all directions there. I'll leave this running for a few seconds while I just go on to say it's pretty good. I do have a couple of problems with it, which we'll take a closer look at in a moment. Also, the rail bridge, I'm going to give full plaudits for the rail as well, because although the rail is going over the road, it's terraformed over. That rail is almost entirely perfectly flat. That is good rail work. This is interesting. I'm not quite sure why we've gone to all of this. Once again, maybe that's what it looks like on the map. I would have simplified it, gone with the basics and just made it work for the game. And once again, this rail over the road works as well. It's a little bit, seems a bit low, but there's nothing crashing into it. I can give plaudits for that once we've got one lamp, street lamp, poking through, and we've got the same problems on the junction. Where is it on the junction? Yeah, we are. We've got this thing here. This is definitely a hazard, I would say. On the plus side, you could switch the lamps on and people could see them before they get to it, I guess. But yeah, I mean, they're lovely low bridges. Lovely. Oh, crumbs. How low can you go? But yeah, the street lamps are clipping through it. So not entirely brilliant there, but still not the worst. Here's your start square. And that, other than being at great risk of flooding, of course, right by the water, right on the highway, it's all good. It's all good. What have we got in the corner of the map? I've not had a look at this yet. Let's have a look at this little mountain here. This is interesting. Snow at the bottom of the mountain, and those ones have got snow on the top of the mountain. Perhaps this is skiing. Ski resort. Lovely. Right. Well, I guess we better get on and do some scoring then. Let's find somewhere to a viewpoint for the scoring, hey? Right, so aesthetics. Tough one to call this one because much of the map is very plain, but the snowy mountain tops work for me, so 3 stars for that. Detail, well, the intersection was quite nice, but the rivers have really gone and knocked that down, so just 2 there. And gameplay, well, unfortunately the rivers have kind of ruined it, so just 1 star. So that was Elizabeth Valley by Honda Car 1212. Now, I promise you we'll have 2 really good maps in the next 2 days to make up for this one being a little on the weak side. So please join me for more of What Map, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.